Okay, guys, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and hi guys, thank you for being patient. Okay, so that was about 13 minutes. Plenty of time for you guys to log on. Thank you guys for doing that. We are being recorded. I just want to let you guys know that because I'm going to play the video from yesterday and I'm hoping that I don't I'm going to kind of wait around if you guys can't. That was someone trying to get in. That was loud. Okay, I'm going to show the video from yesterday. Now, there is a lot of information that she goes over. I heard it yesterday. You guys did not. I thought you guys were all listening. So if you can't hear, unmute yourselves and tell me as soon as it starts, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and play the video now. You might need to take notes. I want you to all have your emails up. So go ahead and go to your kids' account, your Gmail account, so that you can see exactly what she's talking about. We will stop and practice occasionally. And then that will be it for today. So go ahead and open up your Gmail accounts. Okay, so now we're going to see this. You have got to let me know if you can't see anything. I am going to turn my screen off since I want you to focus on her. I will still have you guys up on the side. And we are going to watch today using labels and folders. This is what I showed you yesterday. That didn't quite work out. So immediately tell me if you guys can't hear it. So here we go.
The next thing that we are going to do is create some labels that.
Okay, I can see Mandy, Patrick, and Arthur. Can you guys put your thumbs up if you can hear her? Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and make it full screen then.
That we can also use as folders. So the first thing that you want to do is take a look at your emails and decide which folders that you would like to set up. So just glancing at my inbox, I see that I've gotten emails from Mrs. Dossie, Mrs. Mangold, Mrs. Greenwald, Mrs. Blake, and from Cooley Middle School. So the first step to creating a label is going over to the left of your Gmail and clicking on the arrow next to more.
Okay, guys, go ahead and do that on your own. On your Gmail account, on the left-hand side, click on More. You will be having a summative test on this, so it's really important that when you're watching this video, you are actually doing the steps as well. So go ahead and click on More, please.
And then you left of your Gmail and clicking on the arrow next to More. And then you scroll all the way down until you see the plus that says Create New Label. And
so you are actually going to do that right now. You can delete it later if it's not going to be a real label, but go ahead and click on Create New Label, and this will appear.
You click the plus. So we will label our first one Mrs. Dossie.
If you think that you are getting a lot of important emails from your teachers, you can label this one of your teachers' names, or you can label it one of your class names. So it can be social studies or math, science, etc. Okay. If you think that there's another label that is important, go ahead and write that down. It doesn't really matter right this minute what the label is. It's just a matter of learning how to create this.
And then you hit Create. And then you will notice that here it is right here, Mrs. Dossie. And you can see the little label. What you can even do is click on the 3 dots next to it, and you can choose a color.
Okay, go ahead and do that too, please. So whatever label you just made, go ahead and give your label a color. It makes it so much easier when things are color-coded.
So let's choose purple, and then you can see the purple label under Mrs. Dossie. And then let's continue to create a few more. Create new label. Let's do Mrs. Mangle. And again, you can scroll up. We can choose a color for Miss Mangle. And then let's do Mrs. Greenwald. And we will choose a color for Miss Greenwald. Mrs. Blake.
Okay, so I'm going to pause here and I would like you to create at least 2 different labels on the left-hand side with 2 different colors. So go ahead and do that now. So you should have 2 different folders on the left-hand side now that are color-coded. As you can see, everything else is gray, and it's just so nice to have a color to associate it with. That's one thing about Otis that's a little difficult is everything is the same exact color, and it is really nice when you can label it with a color. So now that you actually have the option to do that, go ahead and do it right now. I think it might be good for you to label your classes. So maybe if you think it's best to do teacher, that's fine, or you can do class name, that's fine as well. If you guys do have questions, okay, I see Harrison has one. Harrison, go ahead.
When I was making the label, they were like talking about how to color it, so I didn't get to see how to change the color on the label.
So let me go back just a little bit because she did that pretty recently. Let's see. Okay, so this is the part that I believe shows you. Okay, so you just click on the 3 dots next to the person's name or the class name or whatever you named your label. Click on those 3 dots, and the very first choice is label color, and you can click on there. Does that make sense, Harrison?
Yeah.
Okay, Melena?
Oh, I have the same question as him, but I know how to do it now.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Make sure that if you do have a question, now is the perfect time to ask. You are going to be required to know how to do this all by yourself. I think we're going to have you make a video showing us that you know how to do it. So please make sure that you do know, and now's a great time to ask questions. Most likely, if you have a question, someone else has that exact same question too. Okay, it looks like you guys know. Feel free to raise your hands if you need to throughout this lesson.
And finally, we'll do one for Cooley Middle School, and I will just label it CMS for Cooley Middle School. Okay, so now that we have our labels, I also wanted to note that you can do a sub-label underneath. So for example, let's say you wanted to separate Mrs. Dossie's class into language arts and social studies. So you would do the same thing. You would click the plus, and then you can type LA for language arts. And then you would just...
Okay, so go ahead and do that, everyone. This is going to be your 3rd required label. So open up a new one. You're going to hit that plus button, create new label. Why don't you put the title as one of your classes?
Just click nest label under, and then we would put it right under Mrs. Dossie. So then what you will see is right underneath Mrs. Dossie, you will have a little sub label for language arts.
I did not know that. See, I just learned that right this second, even though I watched this yesterday. So if you created a folder that had math, for example, you might want to delete that and then go back and do what she's doing. So she's putting down the teacher's name, and then underneath, she's putting down the subjects that that teacher is teaching. So some of you guys actually have me a lot. So mine, for the few of you who have me a lot, you're going to write Mrs. Mangle. And then the subtopics can be, for some of you, it is language arts, social studies, E-period, elective. That's a lot. So if go ahead and do that now for one of your teachers. So if it's Mr. Regato, it would be math and science. If it's Mr. Loudon, same thing, math or science. If it's Mrs. Blake, language arts, social studies, and maybe even elective. Okay, I mean, not elective, E-period. Okay, so I'm just gonna rewind that for a second so you can see how to do that again. All right, here we go.
Mrs. Dossi, you will have a little sub label. You would click the plus, and then you can type LA for language arts. And then you would just click nest label under, and then we would put it right under Mrs. Dossi. So then what you will see is right underneath Mrs. Dossi, you will have a little sub label for language arts. And then you can do one more for social studies, SS, nest label under, Mrs. Dossi, and create.
Okay, any questions about how to do that? Go ahead and put your hand up in the chat. Okay.
Okay, so now we have our labels. And let's just add one more color here. There we go. Okay, so now what we want to do is go through our emails and put them into folders if we think that we want to refer back to them. So the Cooley Cobra communication, this is something that we have starred and that we will use throughout the year. What you can still do is you can still label it as well. You can place it in the label used as a folder, or you can simply label it. So what you would do is you would first click on it, and then you would click, if you would just like to label it, you click on label, and this will be CMS, and you hit apply. And now what you see is the label color that we titled CMS is showing up. And if you click right out here, you will see it labeled.
That really helps you organize. So let's see. 1 second, let me see. 11:03. Okay, that really helps you stay organized. So as you can see, she labeled, and I'll go back and play that again for those of you who are, if you missed it, but now you can see right here, not only do you have a folder, or over here, in the actual email itself, it is labeled here. So the color as well as the title. So I'm gonna go back just a little bit so you can see that one more time.
And then you would click, if you would just like to label it, you click on label, and this will be CMS, and you hit apply. And now what you see is the label color that we titled CMS is showing up. And if you click right out here, you will see it labeled. Okay. Now, if you want that to go in the CMS folder, when you click on it, you hit the move to CMS, and now it puts it right into the folder. So if I click on the CMS folder, here it is. Okay, so you have two different options that you'd like to do. Mrs. Dossi's China newspaper samples, this would be something that you would put in the social studies subsection for Mrs. Dossi's class. So again, you click on it. We can move this to the Mrs. Dossi SS, which is Mrs. Dossi Social Studies. And then we can double check. And there it went, right in there.
Okay, so any questions? That was a lot of information for you. I just want to make sure that you are understanding what you're doing. Why don't you go ahead and go through your emails right now and see if you can place any of them, if you can label them. So you can label them and put them in one of these folders, or you can do it over here in the actual email to show where it belongs. So go ahead and take the next, let's say, minute or two to do that. And then if you do have any questions, you can put your hand up in the chat. And don't forget that you are going to need to know this because you will be having a test on it in the near future, okay? But I'll give you lots of time to practice.
Okay, Scrolling down, Otis is down again. This is from Miss Mangle. However, this is not something that you necessarily need to keep. So we'll just keep this in our inbox for right now. Missing work, make sure to submit work ASAP. Again, that's just a message from Miss Mangle, not something you may need to refer back to. However, right here, we did star Miss Mangle's Zoom meeting links. So this would be something that is important. We've already started, and now we can place it in the Miss Mangle folder, just like that. Okay, and then we have Miss Greenwald, Greek project parent form due. That's something that's a reminder. Miss Greenwald's Egypt website examples. This might be something that you would want to refer back to. So let's place that in the Mrs. Greenwald folder. Okay, this one was from Cooley Middle School, Principals Back to School Night Welcome. Let's say you might want to refer back to this throughout the year. This is something that you can place in the Cooley Middle School folder. Okay, Miss Blake sent some emails about.
Okay, so we're going to stop there for today. Let me undo my screen so you can see me. Okay, guys, so do you have any questions for me? If we all started to do this, our lives would be a lot easier because we would have, it would be super organized. Some of you already are. I think Mandy has 0 emails in her email. I have 45,000, so I'm definitely going to start doing this. But do you have any questions? That was a lot of information. I'm hoping that you guys were practicing as we went along. It'll make it so much easier for you. Okay, let me stop recording.